Myers, Jackson, Chandler, and I prefer just to be called Jackson all the time. I met my husband in here we go with the 19, they know 2000, in 1997, 97, somewhere around here. He was the cellie to my godson's father. So it started every time I would send my godson's father something, he would always tell me how cool this cellie was. So I would always just say, well, here's something for the boys, you know. Because all the war stories, you know, you gotta share food if you got a good brother, all that stuff. So that's how it started. And then that was it for a long time. I would just be kind. And then one day, Kevin, who's my godson father, put Cortez on his phone and said, say hi to my friend. And Cortez spoke, but his voice was so, dang. Like, I was like, nah, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you. Because I'm a grown woman. I heard about phone sex, so I can't talk to you. I ain't got no man at home. We cannot be friends over the phone at all. Because that's how you sound. So, about 2 years after that, I sent a letter to Kevin to give to Cortez to tell him that if anything happened to Kevin, this was my phone number, this was the house emergency number, and this was my brother's number. You know, because everything that can go on. So Cortez kept the number. Fast forward, we started laughing and talking because they had a real bad riot one time. That's when Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to the different prisons. And Cortez had called me to tell me Kevin was in the shoe. And Cortez was my connection. So we went on like that. And I gave Kevin a birthday party from in prison, so I sent everything to Cortez, paid for cake and all that stuff. And then Cortez's dad died, and that's when him and I became friends. Because when he called me, the cry that he had, for me being born in the 60s and all of that, Black history, his cry was of a man whose back was against the wall, and there was no way out. So I felt that in my spirit, and that's what drew me to Cortez on the real. That's what drew me to him, my empathy for what he was going through. And then 2 years later, he sent me a letter, and then after that, 2 years later, he called my house, collect, and told me that he loved me, and I told him, I know you do, and he got mad, and he said, well, if you knew I loved you, why you didn't tell me? I said, because I don't cross those kind of lines, because I know from family and relatives, prison have a boundary line. You can't just cross any line. There's a lot when you cross over that line. If you're inside the wall or coming into the other side of the wall. And from there, we just hooked up and started visiting and kissing, and him telling me that good stuff, and my soul believing it. And then we made it here today.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Cecilia. After 3.5 years of marriage, Miss Cecilia, you and your husband had your first family visit. What was that experience like for you? So for those of you who don't know about family visits, she can actually go how many days? 2 and a half days, and spend it in a little house with her husband and do what they want to do without being monitored. So no sleeping, as Roderick said. Okay. So what was your experience like?
Overall experience, it was actually a great experience. I think my husband would probably interpret my interpretation of it a different way. He'd probably feel that I was maybe somewhat disappointed. But I think it's because we were kind of both on two different wavelengths. You know, I'm coming in, I'm thinking, okay, quality, my husband's 45 years old, you know, I'm an older woman, I'm 46, you know, I'm not all about that, I'm about, you know, cuddling and stuff like that. But I went with an 18-year-old who was all about quantity. So it was all about getting his, trying to make up for 26 years of incarceration. So it was kind of like trying to keep up with the young kid, you know, but overall it was really good. It was nice because we had already been together for 5 years, and you know, knowing my husband on a very personal level, it was very comfortable. So there was nothing, like there was no inhibitions, there was nothing. So it was natural to lay in bed with him. It was natural to be in the kitchen with him. It was natural to shower with him. There was nothing insecure. And I remember one of the gals in our support group had said that when she spent the night with her husband, he lay tucked in the corner and wouldn't move because he was so used to sleeping in his bunk. And my husband was like, leg wrapped around me, arm wrapped around me like a body pillow. Like he had no problems whatsoever to sleep in the same bed and stuff. And I think that's what he was, I think out of everything, that's what I would say was probably his favorite, was just being able to hold me, and probably like whether it's that protective guy that he wants to be, was to be able to do that for me. So it was a great experience. You know, we have our next one coming up in a couple weeks, so I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be an even better experience that time.
It will be.
Yeah.
Her husband was in my class, and after the family visit, he was all smiles. He was more. So
He better.